So before lunch, we're discussing all these points. The world vision, that is the realities to be understood, questions to be answered, and we could list all these questions there, right? The 7 questions. Now we can go over the various philosophies one by one and look at the psychology there. So there is one philosophy called Charvak. So it is the first and foremost Gnostic darshan. Gnostic means it did not accept the Vedas, the authority of the Vedas. So tradition names it as Lokayat, meaning which appeals to the masses. So this philosophy is attributed to Brihaspati or his disciple, as it has got another name as Barhaspatya Darshan. So Charvak is a fully materialistic philosophy. It is an extreme Gnostic darshan which believes only one means of valid knowledge, that is direct perception or pratyaksh. And all other sources of knowledge are not trustworthy or rather misleading. So views of Charvak had been compiled by a philosopher who is called as Madhav Vidyaranya. So he was there in AD 1296 to 1386. So it is no longer accepted or practiced here, but you will see that the modern way of living may be quite similar to the Charvak philosophy, right? Because it is completely materialistic. In the West, if you see, the tradition that came is called as hedonic, right? So something similar is there in the West also. So since only pratyaksh is the valid means of knowledge, yeah. Since only pratyaksh is the valid means of knowledge, whatever is not there in its purview is not a true knowledge at all. So as they say, that this is not a true knowledge at all. No, this is visible. The screen is visible. The screen is not shared? Okay, shared, yeah. So since only pratyaksh is the valid means of knowledge, whatever is not there in its purview is not a true knowledge at all. So according to Charvak, consciousness is not a different entity, but a byproduct of matter, just like we observe the living objects coming out of decomposing things. So according to Charvak, there is nothing like consciousness. There is nothing like space. It is only material. Human being is material. The whole existence is material. Similarly, moksha, that is liberation, means death. Bodily pleasure is swarg, heaven. So sensual pleasure from the body is heaven. And pain is narak, right? So if I am not happy, right, then it is the hell. Forget about rebirths and which we don't perceive through our sense organs. So don't talk about anything that you cannot perceive through your sense organs. So only accept that which you can perceive through sense organs. So even this philosophy discards the fifth fundamental element of the universe, that is the akash, the space, as it is not perceived to us. So for him, only 4 fundamental elements are there, that is earth, water, fire, and air, which our sense organs can perceive. So fully materialistic. So see, that slide is already visible. If you look at it, it is a repetition. So you can focus here, no? Okay. Yeah. So the salient features of the philosophy, if you look at them, this world is made up of 4 elements: air, fire, water, and earth. Vayu, Agni, Aap. Aap is water and earth. And Charva completely rejects ether, that is Akash. So basically, ether is not the right word. We can say space, and it discards space. So there is no soul, there is no God. Rejection of 2 of the 4 Purusartha, that is Dharma and Moksha. So they say that only earth and Kam. So there are 4 Purusartha, no? Earth, Kam, Dharma, and Moksha. So they will say that only 2 Purusartha are there, earth and Kam, right? Dharma and Moksha do not exist. Enjoyment is the ultimate end. So enjoyment through sensual pleasure is the ultimate end. And there's a famous slok that is associated with Charvak Darshan. Yavat jike sukham jivet, rinam kritvaghritam pivet. It means as long as you live, live happily. Borrow if you must, but drink ghee. जी 4 Purusarth. Okay. They are earth, calm, dharma, and moksha. Basically, please rightly, Dharma, earth, काम and moksha. So dharma essentially is the innateness. Okay. So fulfill the responsibility as per your innateness. Earth is to do with prosperity. Okay. Calm is to fulfill your desires, and that is essentially to fulfill your roles in the society. And moksha is liberation, to see the coexistence. So if you look at the four human goals, they are in some sense translation of these four goals, four purusarth. Yeah. Yes. Yes. Whatever you cannot see through eyes, sense through your sense organs, do not accept. Yes. So, enjoy as much as possible. So all the filthy practices you can see here. They say that 5M, so much madira, mans, mahila, and all those things are included for enjoyment. What? Space. Yeah. Basically, sky is as you perceive, but it is essentially space. So sky is something above Earth, but space is also within the Earth. Space is there everywhere. Sky is not within the Earth. So sky is one zone that we have made out in the cosmos. It is beyond the planet. So it is completely materialistic, completely based on sensual pleasure, that you try to be happy somehow or the other. Now, why is it relevant? If you make an appraisal of the current state of society, you can see all this happening. Okay, no interest in right understanding, maybe. Okay, and just trying to enjoy happiness by all means. And if you look at the new generation, they are tending towards it. No commitment in relationship. Okay, no fulfillment of responsibility towards parents, no obedience towards teachers, no gratitude. Okay, just it's my life. And this has come primarily, if you see, it was there in the tradition also, come primarily from the West. That this is the kind of culture that is gradually coming in. So the disintegration of family, the collectiveness is getting lost, individualistic approach is getting promoted. In fact, Soumya Didi was saying that she was coming by a bus yesterday, in fact the previous day, and the bus made an accident. Right, there are so many young youth there, young boys were there in the bus, and the driver made an accident. He was yelling, right, but nobody came to see him. They only said when the bus was changed that, are you going to pay for the loss that I have incurred? So, and they give their GPay numbers that you make that payment to me. No feeling of relationship with the driver. Okay, and only two women came down to see what happened to the driver. One was Soumya Didi, right? And no other person even came to see what happened to the driver. They were just inside the bus. When the bus got changed, then they swapped the bus. That's all. So no concern for relationship, only looking at their own individualistic priorities. So this kind of trend is emerging. So the collectivism is getting gradually reduced, and the sense of enjoyment, individualism, autonomy, freedom that is coming up, right? So even though like this has been discarded, but yeah.
I- when we teach students, we should go to a reverse order. So we have to teach this first and then go to the UHV.
In fact, when I was teaching this in Indian knowledge system to my students, then they said, "Sir, ये बढ़िया है ना? This is good, है ना? This is more enjoyable."
Bhaiya,
Yes.
Bhaiya, I have a doubt.
So if you are talking about heaven and hell, so what would be the punishment to the human being when we are in the hell? If it is for soul or for body? Because in we have a Tamil movie Onion. In that movie we have seen Garuda Puranam is there. In Garuda Puranam, according to the movie, I'm not aware of what really they are mentioning in the Garuda Puranam. According to the movie, all the punishment would be given to the body in the hell.
Yeah. So basically, you see, no, as I'm mentioning that when we are not able to validate in our living, our mutual happiness, mutual prospect. Yeah. So to regulate the society, people make certain stories, certain characters. Okay. So you are there even after leaving the body. Yeah, you are continuous, right? Now, if you do not have right understanding, the hell is inside you. Even today, the hell is inside us. The heaven is inside us. I am caught up in my own sanskars, my own conditionings, my own inclination towards sensation. Okay, so they have tried to denote it. I'm responding to you. They have tried to denote it through heaven or hell. So they will say that, okay, if you don't do good things, you will be boiled in oil, right? And if you do good things, they will see dances of nymphs. You will have delicious food to eat. So they are trying, because people are driven by sensation. So they are posing some negative sensation if you don't do good things, and positive sensation if you do something good. But the solution lies in shifting your attention from sensation to right understanding. Okay, isn't it? Now, even if you call somebody says that heaven means that you will have dances by nymphs and eat delicious food. Okay, you are again enslaved by sensation. You're not going to be happy in continuity, right? So these are certain things. In fact, no, it so happens that you talk about reality and people do not understand. Then you have to bring stories. For example, when we have to make present this content to the students in primary education, we are making stories. Otherwise, how will the children understand if you talk about it directly? In fact, we have to be little very much cautious. I will say very much cautious while dilute or taking this to a more general form, because this may have multiple connotations. So you'll see that in the workshop we do not use similes. We directly talk about the content, right? And we give examples. And we avoid dilution to the extent possible, unless people are not able to understand. Because if you talk about the essence directly and people are able to understand, that is better. As soon as you try to make stories, poems, connotations out of it, then it may be misleading, right? And generation by generation gets misled further and further. So it is said that no, like Brahma Sutras were there. So Vyasji wrote Brahma Sutras, for example. Okay, I'll not go into all those details. And then he was told that who will understand in Brahma Sutras, and make some story so that people can understand it. So he wrote Srimad Bhagavad Puran, right? No, he wrote probably Gita or something. I'm not very sure about the. And then he said, who will understand all this? He wrote Srimad Bhagavad Puran. Then he wrote Mahabharat, right? Because people will go by fables, by stories. At least through fables, their attention will be drawn to something which is very essential. So people,
Why
when
are
they,
people are forgetting the essence and they're asking why Krishna has 16,000 wives?
yes. So that's what. So as soon as you go into detailing and you add certain stories and fables, it may be misleading. That is quite there. You know? So in education, we have to see how we can be more focused on the essence part and less on the expression part. But when you have to take the same thing to the children, how we can draw their attention to self and body, how it can form a chapter. So every time you are making some story, also draw the attention to the reality and let the story never be misleading. Will not make some story where a human being has two horns, isn't it? So we can talk about brothers and sisters, we can talk about parents and children, we can talk about friends, but no need to make artificial characters, okay? Or these cartoon characters. No need to make all this. We'll simply go by the facts. So we have to take utmost care. Charvak is saying that even if you do not have money to buy, borrow ghee and drink. You know, there are people who borrow and drink, and there's so many people. They have gone bankrupt, but they're still drinking. There is a famous poet, no, Mirza Ghalib. Yes, even for drink, somebody might be going for EMI. So this Mirza Ghalib, he was a famous poet, right? But he had borrowed so much from the society, from wealthy people, that he did not have enough to pay off, and he was drinking all the time. One part was that he is making good shairi, you know, but he was a big drunkard, and he was also into gambling. He was also sent to jail, right? But only that people only remember his shairi, do not look into his conduct. Okay, so this has been prevalent. So if you look at the core ideas, the epistemology, that is the theory of knowledge here. So Charvaks accept only pratyaksh, that is direct perception, as a valid means of knowledge. They reject anuman and shabd also, because these can be fallible and misleading. So their argument is that if the inference were valid, then everyone would become, you know, omniscient, knowing everything. So they're also denying inference. They're also denying, you know, verbal testimony, and only relying upon direct perception. They're also only external perception, not internal. Observing through natural acceptance is not acceptable there. The metaphysics, if you see, so rejects the existence of Atman, Parlok, Karma, Moksha, Ishwar, all. Something that is not visible to eyes will not accept. Holds a very materialistic view. Consciousness arises out of body, particularly the brain, just as intoxication arises from fermented liquor. So just as, you know, you can just see how they are explaining the self. That is just like intoxication arising from fermented liquor. In a similar way, the self, the consciousness is there. Yeah, but if you look at this hedonic view or look at this materialistic view, right, there also something similar is being said. Stephen Hawking, who was the one of the biggest scientists of the previous century, he had a firm belief that there is no consciousness. Okay, only body is there and everything is material. And he kept on saying this throughout his life, being such a big physicist, renowned physicist. There are people today who assume that the earth is a plate, it is not spherical. There are lakhs of people. So, yeah, recently they found. Yeah, but the fact to realize is that even those elite scientists, renowned scientists, have to use the word God, okay, at times when they are in distress. In fact, there is a story about Einstein also, no, that when his relativity principle was defeated, he was feeling that using relativity and these mm, Maxwell equations, he can predict every event on this in this existence. But then this uncertainty principle came, and his proposition was defeated. Then he said, God does not play dice. This is a famous statement by Einstein that God does not play dice. So ultimately, he also had to use the word God, okay, even though he had never researched about God or something. So if the reality is not clear, whatever you do, you are not clear within, and you are
Bhaiya,
governed by preconditioning or sensation.
Bhaiya,
Yeah.
even Albert Einstein said that life is predetermined. So he himself agreed. And Thomas Alva Edison also said life is predetermined. So even doctors now say if there is a miracle, when patients are predicted they are going to die, still the miracle happens.
Yeah. So they are saying that we are only able to talk about material things. Now, if you look at the basic science or the people who have been talking about it, they are honest also in saying that I can only talk about material because my limitation is material. I cannot talk beyond it. In Principia, the book by Newton, Newton has written that if tomorrow the nature doesn't follow my laws, I am not responsible. So I'm writing whatever has come to me, right? But I'm not responsible for every other event. So holds a materialistic view. Consciousness arises out of body, particularly the brain, just as intoxication arises from fermented liquor. No life after death. Only the physical body exists. Then, if you look at the ethics part, there is no afterlife. The goal of life is calm, pleasure, and avoidance of dukh. So avoid pain somehow or the other. As long as you live, live happily, borrow money if necessary, but drink ghee is attributed to them. Though later critics may have exaggerated this for polemic. However, they also advise prudence. Pursuit of pleasure should not bring greater suffering. So have pleasure, but let it not involve greater suffering. It's not that you are going for sexual pleasure in such a way that it is inviting more pain for you. Criticism by other schools, other Indian darshans criticize Charvak for being too hedonistic and short-sighted. But historically, it played a crucial role as a skeptical and rationalist counterpoint to Vedic orthodoxy. So basically, since the orthodoxy was on the rise, people tried to counter it. So they countered in some manner. Fine. Any questions? Up to what time we can go? 12:30. Okay. Similarly, we can talk about psychology in the Jain philosophy. So Jain darshan. So Jain philosophy is primarily based on the teachings of 24 Tirthankaras, that is preachers. Rishabh Dev is the first Tirthankar, as the tradition of Jainism maintains. Out of these 24 Tirthankara, the last two, Parshvanath and Mahavir, are historical personalities. The word Jain is derived from a Sanskrit word Jin, meaning the conqueror, that is, conqueror of passion and desire. So basically, this Jain word comes from Jin. Jin is for winning, Jitna, for the conqueror. The last Tirthankar Mahavir is called Jin, as he conquered his passion after the attainment of the supreme realization. The earlier Jnana literature is found in Prakrit. Mahavir himself used the same in his sermons. Sanskrit was introduced at a later stage for philosophical discourse. So both Buddhism and Jainism, if you see, they have been in Prakrit. So it so happened that during that time, the Vedic tradition was very much prevalent and it has so many anomalies. And they were using Sanskrit. And Sanskrit could be understood by only a particular class of people. The common masses could not understand Sanskrit. So Buddha also did this and Mahavir also did this. They started talking in the local language, Prakrit, the local dialect that was there, so that everyone is able to understand. And they accepted everyone. So they omitted the differentiation based on gender, based on class, based on caste, okay, based on wealth, and accepted everyone. And that's how they became very popular. And it was a good shift also because the orthodox system had become very stringent, very exploitative, okay, and people were really in distress because of those traditions. So it was a big relief, and it was greatly accepted. And even the life of Buddha and Mahavir was quite ascetic. You know, they were very strict in their life. So this inspired people. For the Vedic tradition, they did not know the sources. They could not see the validation in living for those rituals. But the validation in living was quite visible in these two people. So they widely accepted them. The first book of Jain philosophy, that is the Tattva Gama Sutra, was written by Umaswami or Umaswati around 2nd century AD. So basically they preached, but the writings came later. The book deals with almost all philosophical doctrines of Jainism. Jainism is one of the Shraman traditions of ancient India, like Buddhism, which arose as a critique of Vedic ritualism. It is an astic system in the sense that it accepts Atman, karma, and liberation, but Nastic in rejecting the Vedas as ultimate authority. So again, these astic and Nastic have different connotations. So basically, Jain system is accepting about the soul and the Atman. It is talking about karma. It is talking about liberation, but not accepting the Vedas as ultimate authority. So they said that explore yourself. Explore yourself. See the truth by yourself. Don't go by something written in the text. That may be true or false, but you have not seen it. So it is not your knowledge. So it was systematized by Mahavir, the 24th Tirthankar. So if you look at the core issues, the ontology, that is the metaphysics. So Jain metaphysics is based on the concept of dualism between Jeev and Ajeev substances. So there are soul is there, that is consciousness is there, and Ajeev is there, and a material is there. So 6 substances they are talking about, which they are calling as Dravya. So Jeev is a living substance, conscious, eternal, but bound by karma. Then Pudgala, matter, non-living substance, atoms, aggregates, includes physical body, mind, and speech. So again, there is a whole vocabulary associated with this. Dharma is there, which means the principle of motion, not religion, but the medium that allows movement. So it is basically the niyam in the existence that is called as dharma. Adharma is there, principle of rest, medium that allows things to stop. Akash, space is there, provides room for all other substances. Kal is there, the cause of continuity and change. So they are talking about 6 substances. Now this is a little different kind of vocabulary being used here. So we have to see how they relate to the 3 basic realities: space, consciousness, and matter. That is material. So Jeev, Pudgala, Dharma, Adharma, Akash, and Kal. If you talk about Jeev, they are able to see that it is infinite in number, right? It is eternal, inherently pure, omniscient, and blissful. So the self or the soul are infinite in number, right? So it's not that there is a single soul visible in all human beings. No, they are saying very much that they are individual self, individual souls. But in worldly existence, Jiva is bounded by karmic particles due to passions, desires, and actions. So the goal is liberation, that is moksha, by shedding karma and realizing pure soul nature. So basically, due to the karmic particles, I am bounded, I am in pain, I am suffering, right? And I have to get rid of that. So I have to get liberated. I have to attain liberation, moksha. And for that, I have to shed my karma and realize pure soul nature. Then there is a karma theory in Jainism. Karma is not just a law, but a real subtle matter, pudgala, that attaches to the soul. So they are saying that something attaches to the soul, which is the karma. And there are 4 types of karma. So Gyan Varaniya karma, Darshan Varaniya karma, Mohiniya karma, and Antaraya karma. So Gyan Varaniya karma is obstructing knowledge. Darshan Varaniya karma is obstructing perception. Mohiniya karma is causing delusion or attachment. And Antaraya karma is obstructing energy or power. So liberation is complete destruction of the karmic matter. In fact, we can put this diagram here. Can we put the self diagram here? Because we are going to talk about the details now. No, not the PPT, which has the complete diagram of self. It must be in the recap part. 2.2. UHV. Okay, that also will have. 2.2, yeah, this will have. Where that diagram of the self is there, no? With the arrows. It is here. This one. This we can display, no? Play. Full. Current page. Current page. Yes. So we can relate all these concepts to what we have been studying. Yeah. In fact, if you retain the original words, no, that will help you understand better. Because in English, you'll find multiple usages. In different literatures, you'll find different words being used, like whether it is perception or observation or seeing, okay, or believing. So they are saying that there are 4 kinds of karma which you have to get rid of. Something is obstructing your knowledge, something is obstructing perception, something is causing delusion. Now, if you look at the this obstructing the knowledge, now we can place all these in our sanskar. If you look at the Buddhism, they are placing different kinds of issues in the sanskar. Similarly, in Yoga Darshan, they are different terminology, but they are also trying to say how the sanskars are hindering your pure observation. So this is hindering your pure observation. So for example, Mohini karma is sensation, okay, something that is attaching you to the world outside, right? That could also be some favorable feeling that you are expecting from other. There is another thing here which is called Anekantvad, doctrine of multiplicity of reality. So they are saying that reality is complex and has multiple aspects. No single viewpoint captures the whole truth. For example, the parable of the blind man and the elephant, the story that we were sharing yesterday, that an elephant is there, every person is blind, okay, and they are trying to see the same reality in their own perspective, and they are bounded by all this karma. So this is a famous story, and it has been shared times and again, that because people are trying to see the space, but they are trying to look through their own angle. Right? They are trying to see the consciousness through their own belief system. They are trying to see the material through their own belief system. If you look at the Western philosophy that we're discussing, there again you can see how they had different perspectives, isn't it, of looking at things. So they are not looking at the complete reality. Somebody is saying that I will only look at the expression part. Somebody is saying that I will only the internal processing part. Somebody is saying that I will only look at the whole way the society is living, right? Somebody will say that okay, I'm only trying to look at the positive part, leave aside the negative part. So again, they are trying to see the same reality through various angles. The challenge lies in seeing the whole reality as it is. So you will see that going through all this, the conclusion that comes that as an individual, I have to become a pure observer, right? Without being biased, without being based on any kind of preconditioning or sensation, okay, or any thought. I have to see the reality as it is. So Anekantvad. This is called Anekantvad. Then Shadvad, doctrine of conditional predication. Since reality is many-sided, truth must be expressed with qualification. So they use the word shad. Shad means certain, perhaps, perhaps. In Sanskrit, if you see, shad means perhaps, maybe, may not be. In a certain sense, perhaps to avoid dogmatism. So sevenfold predication is there, which is called as Saptabhangi. So shad afti, in some sense it exists. Shad nafti, in some sense it does not exist. Shad afti nafti, in some sense it exists and does not exist. Shad afti avaktabya. It exists, but I cannot express. In some sense, it exists, but it is indiscernible, indescribable. Shan nafti avaktabya. In some sense, it does not exist, and it is indescribable. It is sad, not shan. Sad afti nafti avaktabya. In some sense, it exists, it does not exist, and it is indescribable. Shad avaktabya. In some sense, it is indescribable. We will not go into all those details, the examples, but they are saying that when you are seeing the reality, there is always some factor or some element of doubt involved. You cannot talk about the truth in the completeness. Syadvad. Then the epistemology, if you see Praman, so Jains accept 3 Pramans, means of wild knowledge: Pratyaksh, Anuman, and Shabd. Direct perception, inference, and verbal testimony. They also classify knowledge into these 5 parts: Mati Gyan, sensory knowledge. Shrut Gyan, scriptural knowledge. So Shrut Gyan is something to do with this word, Shabd. Avadhi Gyan, clairvoyance. So this is to see the past and the future. They are also accepting that. In Jain philosophy, we will see that they are very clearly talking about the past and the future. Right? Maha Paryaya Gyan, telepathy. And then Keval Gyan, omniscience, knowledge of a liberated soul. Now, if you see here, Keval Gyan is quite close to realization. That what we are seeing through senses, this is beyond senses. And Keval means it is only there. No doubt. So Keval Gyan, omniscience. I am able to know the whole thing as it is. Sensory Gyan, sensory knowledge, right? Through the senses. Shruth, through scriptures. Clairvoyance, something that has not been talked about, right? So how to see the past and the future. So they are saying that this can also be seen. And this is beyond senses. And but when you say Keval Gyan, it is to see the reality only, nothing like events. And clairvoyance is about the events. And telepathy, it is also very much there. Now these are certain things which are generally not covered in the prevalent psychology, but they are real. And people have been practicing telepathy. People have been practicing this ability to see the past and the future, isn't it? There are people even today, if you go to them, they will tell about the past. Now there are people who like quite disputed also, but you just go to them and they will read about your past and start talking about you, or they will tell you that what is going to happen in the future. We have fables and stories about them, only that we have not accepted it as something which can be a part of academics or something that can be subjected to study. So for example, in India, Tantra system has been quite prevalent, right? So there are three things: Tantra, Yantra, Tantra, and Mantra. So Yantra is to do with physical facility, using instruments. Tantra is at the level of body, and Mantra is at the level of mind, right? So all these three measures have been used. Now, if you look at the West, it is highly relying upon Yantra. We are highly relying upon Mantra and even Tantra. So we will see that in Ramayana, we will have a story that if the Pushpak Viman has to fly, some mantra was chanted and it started flying. Now, if Arjun has to kill Jayadrath, right, he will cite some mantra and will go and kill him in a desired location, right? So people have been talking about it, and we can keep it subject to exploration. So there is no point of denying or accepting it. I'm not saying that accept it as a reality or deny it rather. Just keep it open. See whether the possibility is there. But the point is to see the reality as it is. I may not require all that. Right? I have to see the reality, not events at the level of body or at the level of any kind of physiochemical change. I have to see the reality. So many times when people go too much into all this, it becomes a kind of siddhi. It becomes a kind of skill. Okay? And this also becomes a barrier to knowledge at times, because then people will go to someone, okay, I'm not getting married, just get me married somehow or the other. I'm not getting a baby, so try something so that I can get a baby. So in place of ensuring a fulfilling life, a happy and prosperous life in continuity, they are going for some benefit, some profit, or fulfillment of some kind of desire, which may be again misleading. So for a humane society, we see not go into all this, so that you are doing some kind of beneficiary task to the other for the sake of fulfilling the desire of someone. The essence would be right understanding and right feeling. How to ensure the right understanding, how to ensure the right feeling. But yes, since we are studying various philosophies, we have to see what all has been said, because time and again we keep on coming across these. Tomorrow we'll get some news that one tantric was caught here and done something to them. So what is a tantric? You must be aware. Like in Ayurveda, what are the practices that people have been using? So there are good practitioners of Ayurveda who just by looking at you can tell you about your past. Very much common, right? They will also talk about what has happened to your previous life. If you are getting pain in your spinal cord while nothing has happened to you, something has happened in your previous life, and they will tell you. Because of that only you are getting the pain in the, you know, or you are getting cervical pain, something like that, right? So the clairvoyance has been there. Ji? Yeah. So I'm saying that it can do something good at the level of body, at the level of physical facility, right? It can maybe cure your body, it can make some profit for you. That is fine, but it cannot ensure happiness and continuity, because the source of happiness and continuity is right understanding, right feeling. For time being, I may escape from some pain, some loss, okay, some misery. That is possible through all these techniques. These are techniques, right?
Bhaiya,
Yes.
Bhaiya, I have one doubt. Here, you mentioned as liberated soul. So, is that soul with good sanskar? Is that what is liberated soul?
Yes. Liberated means now I am free of all these bondages. All these bondages. Now I am completely realized. Fine. Right desire. No craving. We have to distinguish between desire and craving. So I will get free from craving, but I will have desire. In fact, when these people are preaching to the rest of the world, they have a desire to make everyone happy, right? Pardon, I am getting, yeah. Yeah. So that becomes a craving when I do not have the right program. So let me go to realization by sitting in this room. Okay, that may become a craving, right? So when I have the right program, then I will go for it. Then the outcome is not motivating me. That something may happen today or tomorrow. I am able to see my innateness, and that is motivating me. When it will happen, let it be. Then ethics, if you see the conduct achar. So Jain ethics is rigorous based on non-violence, that is ahimsa, and 5 Mahabhrats are there, great vows for monks. Ahimsa, non-violence in thought, word, and deed. Satya, truthfulness. Asteya, non-stealing. Brahmacharya, celibacy. Aparigraha, non-possession, that is detachment. So our lay persons, Shravaks, these are practiced as small vows, anuvrats, in milder form. So these 5 Mahabhrats are there, right? And then you can make anuvrat out of this. If you're not able to fulfill all these, no, basically celibacy, if you look at this brahmachar, it means that I have no longer craving for sensation. So there may be no craving for sensation, any kind of sensation. Even if one is a bachelor but has craving, one may be a bachelor but has craving for sensation through these 5 sense organs, then the brahmacharya is not being followed. Now the point is that, now if you look at it, in which you are not saying all these things to do, right? Because one may get caught up, okay, I'm not able to proceed from here, what to do? So this may become a prerequisite. So many times they were said as prerequisite. In Jain Darshan also, Bodh Darshan also, that these are prerequisites. You have to first prepare, even Yog Darshan, let's say, you have to first prepare yourself with this and then you can proceed further, right? But what we are saying is that if you start self-exploring, if you start looking into your natural acceptance, this will automatically be taken care of. No need to focus here. Otherwise, you may be in pain following brahmacharya. You may be in pain following asteya. So this is desirable, fine, but not a prerequisite. But yes, it might be posed as a prerequisite. So they are saying there are 5 Mahabrat. So you have to start from here. You have to take these oaths, to begin with. So you have to go for ahimsa, satya, asteya, brahmacharya, and aparigraha. Aparigraha is non-possession. I will not possess anything which is not required for me. Right? And this has been our tradition. So basically, if you look at people in our tradition, they will donate everything that is more than their use. And first of all, why to possess more than what is needed? So I'll keep only that much which is required. This is a parigraph. Now, if you look at prosperity, we are saying that it's not that I will not possess. Okay, I'll produce and produce only that much which is required. Right. So it is close to a parigraph. Pardon?
One devotee of Tirupati Devasthanam, he donated 121 kg of gold to God.
Yeah, but the question is, how come he came to accumulate this much? Yes. And whether it came from humane practice or inhuman practice, through exploitation or through production.
He said he prayed God, Tirupati, Venkata.
That is fine. I'm saying, how come he accumulated this much?
He was able to earn 6,000 crores like that. He said, how, we do not know.
Yes. So, in fact, people are donating across the world. Bill Gates donated, like 99% of his wealth, as it is said. And this person, uh, eh? No, not Tata. This, the stock market expert in US. Who is that person? Joe Bezos or something, no? Warren Buffett. Warren Buffett. He donated 99% of his wealth, right? But how are you getting so much? That process has to be looked into. I first exploit the rest of the world and then donate. Yeah, but we'll have to see the whole mechanism. When you are earning from the market, how are you earning?
Proper understanding of investment scheme led him to earn or acquire such a wealth. Not investing on gold will give you this. There is an article which clearly stated what is a strategy of investment, and he asked everyone to do such thing. Plan your investment properly, and yes, it took some years to acquire such a wealth. He has a strategy for that.
That is fine. Now, see, if I have to make a program for myself, yes, if I have to make a program for myself, I have to see where I'm going to invest my time. So if I'm able to see that by investing for 1 year, I have earned enough for next 79 years. Fine, then why will spend the rest 79 years working for human society? Why to go work for stock market? Pardon? Any? No, I am saying be a billionaire, okay, but not in terms of money, but in terms of so many people having the right understanding. Develop these many people, develop 1 billion people with right understanding. Why not? In place of accumulating 1 billion rupees, develop 1 billion people. Let everyone be having right understanding. We have to set our right priority.
But how can we help people then? We have to satisfy the needs of the people. Then only they will come up.
These are 3 needs: right understanding, relationship, and physical facility.
Not only by through teaching, we are able to bring them up. We have to provide what they require actually.
See, that's what, no, everybody is capable of producing more than required. We have to facilitate through right understanding, through relationship, through physical facility. There's a story, no, that one person came to the sheep. There was a herd of sheep, and he came and announced that tomorrow I'm going to donate a blanket to each one of you. Every sheep became very happy and they started jumping. Then one lamb said, from here this person will get wool. You exploit the world first, accumulate, and then donate. What is this? Isn't it? Yes. So they have already spent so much for indulgence. Might have. I'm keeping it open. Might have spent so much for indulgence. and they are sprinkling the last part of it on you and saying that we are donating for you. So the farmers have been removed from the farms, the people have lost their jobs, okay, they become slaves, for example, and then by earning so much, we donate to them. Does it make any good? See, we are talking about undivided society, universal human order. Let every human be prosperous. Let every human being be, every family prosperous. In place of accumulating and then donating, make everyone prosperous. That is better. So if you look at it, in fact, through the workshops, just by attending the workshop, people are becoming prosperous. If you look at it, we are able to make out our needs correctly. We are able to see that yes, I have more than required. So to make people prosperous, first of all, you have to develop the understanding of the needs of physical facility. If that understanding is not required, just by distributing physical facility, it will not serve the purpose. Now, what is happening today, if you see, because food is being shared, for 80 crore people, through Mandrega, they are getting so much money. People are unwilling to work. This has become a common problem in the villages if you go. People are not ready to work in the farm, not ready to come. Pardon? Yeah, that is also there. That show off might be there, of course. Yeah. What?
I just want to prove the world I am the good person.
Yes, yes.
That's it. Not really
See,
working for.
once you are living with these kind of people, then only you can rightly evaluate them, no? Their behavior, their thought, their feeling for you, that you can evaluate rightly. Otherwise, getting some news will not serve the purpose. Yeah. So these 5 Mahavrats are there, and then you can make a small Voj Anuvrat from them in a milder form. Then the path to liberation is Moksh Marg, so known as 3 jewels, 3 Ratna. It can be called a 3 Ratna or Ratna Treya. So Samyak Darshan, Samyak Gyan, Samyak Charitra. Right faith, right knowledge, right conduct. Right. So he talks about 3 jewels. If you look at Buddhism, he talks about 8 things here. That can be called as jewels also. So correct worldview, understanding reality properly, and practicing vows and ethical life. Now, if you look at this, right knowledge, Samyak Darshan, Samyak Gyan, and Samyak Charitra. So the correct worldview, right faith is here in the block of B2. Right knowledge is here in block of B1. And right conduct is here in your behavior, work, and participation. So whenever you are trying to explore, first of all, have the right faith. So take the right proposal and try to live accordingly. Then you are able to ensure samyak gyan, right knowledge. So you can see in these 3 jewels, they are trying to address these 3 blocks, block B1, block B2, and something as block B3, with the world outside. Samyak charitra, your right living, your interaction with human being, your interaction with the rest of nature. Now, if you look at the concept God in Jainism, so Jainism does not believe in the creator God. The 24 Tirthankars are not gods in the theistic sense, but liberated beings who show the path. Liberated souls are siddhas. They are revered, not as creators, but as perfect beings free of karma. So they are saying that there is no creator. And if you term God as creator, there is no creator. It is existence, it was there, it is there, it will be there, right? And there are human beings who get liberated and become Tirthankars. Okay, but they are human beings. So in summary, just if you look at it, Jain Darshan is a realist, dualist, pluralist philosophy. Realist means they are talking about seeing the reality, not about some assumption. Dualist means 2 kinds of reality, consciousness and matter. And pluralist means there are multiple units of consciousness, not a single unit, or not a single existence, right? Pluralist. And centered on soul purification, non-violence, and many-sided truth. So ultimately, the soul has to be purified. You have to ensure non-violence, and then truth may have multiple sides. You have to see it correctly. It offers a highly ethical lifestyle and stresses tolerance of multiple viewpoints, anekantvad, making it unique in world philosophy. So, and you can ultimately accept multiple viewpoints of the same reality. So this was about Jainism, and you have to see how we get the answer to those 6 questions through the core issues addressed in Jainism. Dualist means separate conscious and material. Pluralist means multiple units of consciousness. Then we have Buddhism here, the Bodh Darshan. So the seed of Buddhist philosophy is traced in the teachings of Gautam Buddha. Earlier name was Siddhartha itself. And Buddha always emphasized on leading a moral life for the emancipation of human sufferings rather than indulging into philosophical problems. So you'll see that there are so many stories that say that if somebody came to Buddha and tried to argue, he was never into argument, right? And will also try to break the assumption, shatter the assumption of the other person. So if somebody comes and says that, is God there? Then he said, what do you think? I think it is there. Then he said, no, it is not there. Somebody is asking, is God there? What do you think? I don't think God is there. No, he is there. So he'll try to shatter the assumption of the other, right? And he'll never go into debate. If somebody is coming, then he will simply say, okay, then observe, right? And there are so many stories that suggest how he was never reactive to anyone, right? So these teachings have been compiled in Tripitak in Sanskrit. In Prakrit, this is called a Tripitak. Literally means 3 baskets. It is the most revered text of Buddhism. And this canonical literature has 3 parts: Sutta Pitak, Vinaya Pitak, and Abhidhamma Pitak. So the 3 textbooks, 3 literatures. And these paths are as follows. Pardon? Ajay, you studied this. Oh, okay, nice. UHV 4. So I can, so you are acquainted with all this? The Eightfold Path. Okay, nice. Yeah, Samyak Ditti. This is all written in Prakrit. So Samyak is called as Samma. Dharma is called as Dhamma, in Prakrit. No. Samma Ditti, Samma Sankappo, right aspiration. Sankappo is Sankalp, resolution. Samma Vacha, right speech. Samma Kammo, right action. Samma Ajivo, right livelihood. Samma Vyayamo, right effort. Samma Sati, right mindfulness. And Samma Samadhi, right concentration. So Jain philosophy was talking about 3 jewels. Pardon? It's right understanding, yeah. So if you look at it, this would be natural outcome of right understanding. So when you have the right understanding, you will have the right views. You will have the right aspiration, right speech, right action, right livelihood, right effort, right mindfulness, right concentration. This will naturally come from there. But the point is how to ensure this. So for that, he gave a method called Vipassana. So how many of you have done UHV 4 here? Not everyone. Okay, fine. UHV 4. Okay, nice. So let me ask, who has not done? Okay, many have not done. Fine, so we can detail upon this. So Buddhism prescribes 3 gems: Pragya, Shilo, Samadhi. Right? So Pragya is knowledge, Shil is conduct, and Samadhi is meditation as the means of liberation. So Buddhist religion was bifurcated later as Hinayana and Mahayana. Hinayana is spread in the South and Southeast Asia. Mahayana is prevalent in North and Northeast Asia. And these 4 sects of Buddhist philosophy along with Charvak and Jainism constitute the 6 schools of heterodox philosophies. So now you can see there in Jain Darshan, we had this Shwetambar and Digambar, two traditions came up. Here we have Hinayana and Mahayana. So essentially Hinayana and Mahayana are different in the sense that Mahayana says that take everyone along. Mahayan, Yan means vehicle, Maha means large. So carry a large vehicle, take everyone along, work for liberation of all. Hinayana is saying that no, focus on your liberation, rest will be taken care of. So they become two different traditions after Buddha was no more. One became Mahayana, one became Hinayana. For the core teachings of Buddha, if you see, there are 4 noble truths: Arya Satya, Dukh, Samudaya, Nirodha, and Marg. So Dukh is there, unhappiness is there, pain is there. There is a cause of suffering. Suffering is there, there is a cause of suffering, right? And then there is solution to this. And this is the solution. So life is full of suffering: birth, aging, disease, death, separation, unfulfilled desires. The cause of suffering is Trishna, craving, desire, attachment. So better to say craving or attachment. Now if you look at it, it is a very good observation that the source of your pain or suffering is within you, your own craving. So you are responsible for your dukh, your craving, for your suffering. Nirodha means cessation of suffering, nirvana. And this is possible by ending craving. So what is saying that craving is there, but the craving can come to an end, right? And the path to cessation is the noble eightfold path. So दुख है, दुख का कारण का निवारण है, निवारण का मार्ग है. What? Okay, in Hindi, it is called the suffering is there. There is a cause of suffering, right? And it has a solution, and the solution is eightfold path. So if you look at it, this is very fine. Unless we have the right understanding, right feeling, we are in pain, right? And the cause of pain is inside, and the solution is also there inside. Only that I have to look for it, I have to work for it, isn't it? So the central theme of Buddha's teaching is inherent in the 4 noble truths or the truths of the nobles. That is Chattari Arya Sankhani in Pali. So Dukkham, Dukkha Samupad, Dukkhasya Atikkama, and Aryam Atangitam, Maggam Dukkha Samu Samagamina. Right? So this is in Prakriti. Pardon? Acha. Yes. If that was written in Hindi, it was far more easier to read. So the saying is, it means that there is suffering and the entire world is inflicted by it. It means that there is a cause of suffering, the same thing that is being said here. English problem. Yes. Otherwise, it is craving or attachment, that's all. Attachment is something not acceptable naturally. Similar with craving. Craving means I have not got, I'm going for it, and somehow or the other. Attachment means I have it, I am clinging to it. Yes. Desire is something natural. Yeah, desire is there in you, everyone, right? But if desire to be happy, but if it is a desire to be happy about by outwardly things, that becomes a craving. Yes. 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 Then the noble eightfold path, Stanging mark. So pragya, shil, and samadhi. So they are grouped in 3 categories. Pragya is right view, right intention. Samyak drishti, Samyak Sankalp. Shil is three things: right speech, right action, right livelihood. Samyak Vacha, Samyak Karmana, and Samyak Ajivika. Then Samadhi is meditation, right effort, Samyak Vyayam, right mindfulness, Samyak Smriti, and right concentration, Samyak Samadhi. So if you start from Shil, okay, and then work for Samadhi and reach Pragya. So start with Shil. Shil is the initiation, right? So what is the Shil? You have to use right speech, right action, right livelihood. So you'll see in even the orthodox philosophies, this has been said. And if we study Yoga Darshan, they will say that these are the principles to be followed. Yam, Niyam, Asan, Pranayam. So Yam has to be followed, then Niyam has to be followed, and then you can go further. Now this has an indication. So this will give you an indication whether we are trying to validate rightly or not. So for example, is my speech right? Am I using the right words in my behavior? Samyak action, is my work right? My participation right? And Samyak Ajiva, is my livelihood right? The way I am earning physical facility, is this right? Right? If I'm, for example, killing animals, exploiting human beings, destroying jungle, polluting the air to make money for myself. Okay. So I am not eligible. I will not go further. I have to evaluate it rightly. If I'm working in an office where I'm doing corruption, for example, so whatever I keep on saying and listening, ultimately this will not lead to right understanding because I've accepted that it is essential for my living. So we do not lay these as prerequisites, but when you are trying to explore and validate, this will come naturally in your life, isn't it? So you have to evaluate whether I am having the right livelihood or not. Maybe I am doing farming, but I have snatched the land of my neighbor. Generally, if you see in the villages, there would be a lot of dispute regarding the border of the farm. You know? Somebody would be capturing a large share of somebody else's farm. Now you are doing farming only, a very noble kind of job, but you are stealing from the other. It is not right livelihood.
Tuvalu is an island where it is going to be immersed in under the sea, and they are seeking help from Australia so that all the people of that island are going to be migrated. It is the first digital nation actually, in digital nation actually. It's
Digital
going to be
nation, not
digital
getting.
nation. Not it is not going to exist anywhere. For some more time, within some period of time, it is going to be immersed inside the ocean, so that it is going to be immersed. The other one is the
And how come it is digital when it is going to be immersed in the ocean?
no. It is virtually the nation's name will be existing, and the people are going to be migrated.
Acha,
They
acha,
have an
okay.
MOU. And what about their properties? And what about this? Whatever you are telling now.
Yeah, so if you are nurturing animals, then take the animals along. Okay. And there is no exploitation as such if the land is drowning or the plants are drowning. They are part of this material entity. So no bad, nothing like a problem with that.
By our nature, by default, it is not creating any maps or geography. Only human has created this is mine, this is yeah, manga marani manga edukada and so that border is created by us. Manam irukka,
See,
marma
again, when you go to fulfill your needs, you will have to draw a border. That is essential. For example, if I am doing farming, I cultivate, I grow the crop, and tomorrow somebody else comes and takes it away, saying that there is no border. This is all mine. So we'll have to make a border. When I'm making a house, I will have a boundary, right? Yes. So I have to go for this. When I'm into production, I will have to draw these demarcations. This is my land, this is your land. Probably I am trying to add manure to my land, make it rich for cultivation, and tomorrow when it is fit for growing, somebody else and starts growing his own crop there. Then why will I put in my effort here? So that is fine. But the point is that when I am not able to make out my needs correctly, then I start exploiting the other, either human being or the rest of nature. Yeah, any question regarding this? This is fine. So again, looking into all this, we can make out according to Buddha, what is a human being? Right? I'll come to that. What is full human potential? What is the program to transform a human being? So if you look at the metaphysics, it is anatma, no soul. So he is clearly saying that there is no soul as such. So Buddha only talked about chitta, okay, something there in the self, but did not talk about soul separately. So unlike Jainism and Hinduism, Buddhism denies the existence of permanent soul, that is Atman. Personality is a bundle of 5 aggregates, Panch Skandha. What are those Panch Skandha? Roop, Vedana, Sangya, Sanskar, and Vigyan. So Roop is form, body. Vedana is feelings. Sangya is perception. Sanskar is the mental formation, tendencies. And Vigyan is consciousness. There is no continuity. There is continuity but no permanent self. So it says that there is no permanent self as such. So no self as a unit. As in Jain Darshan, they are recognizing the self as a unit. In Bauddha Darshan, they are not recognizing the self as a unit, right? But they are saying that something is there which is continuing. So every time, no, something is getting created and something is getting destroyed. So new things are coming up, old things are dying out. There is Prakrit word for Samutpaddiyak or something called, it is called as. So it is said that these 5 things are bundling together as Panch Skand, and then that is making the personality. So Roop is the physical body, Vedana is the feeling, Sangya is the perception that I add to it. Then Sanskar is the mental form, the tendencies, something that I start assuming. And Vigyan is the consciousness.
But that person and the person who attained the realization, in that case, he is not accepting that consciousness is continuous.
Yeah, so let us keep it open.
Huh.
Whether Buddha was able to reach the state of realization or not, we can keep it open.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah. So he said, Sabbam Anicham, Sabbam Anatta. There is no soul. There is nothing which is permanent. Yes, yes. Otherwise, people would say that you are saying the same thing as we are saying. So, there.
Sorry.
Baya here he has given that 5 aggregates, na? Their consciousness is there, but he's denying soul. So
Yeah. So he's talking about Chitta. Chitta is the consciousness, according to him. And this is getting created and destroyed every moment. Mental formation and same. Yeah. 2. No, sanskar is the mental formation. Same.
mental formation and
Formation, is it same or different? Then why it is given as samskara and vijnana?
Vigyan is consciousness, no? So he's saying that by seeing my sanskar, when I get rid of all the sanskar, then Vigyan gets awakened. Vigyan is the state in which I am there by undoing my sanskar. Yeah, so but he's not using the word soul. So that's what. So in fact, he's also saying that there are many entities existing with the bodies, but he's not using the word soul, atma, because at that time,
Imagination, a B2 block.
yeah,
Is that
in the Vedic literature, if you look at, we'll come to that, there has been an interpretation that soul is infinite. It is the same as space in the Vedic tradition. So he's saying that there is nothing like infinite and existing in everyone. There are separate entities. And to not use the word soul, he used the word chitta. Pardon?
About 500 births, right? Previous births.
Yeah.
Buddha.
So he's saying there is continuity, but no permanent self. So he's saying that every time I'm taking birth and dying, every time I'm taking birth and dying.
It's not the same soul. It's a different.
Same, yeah.
Body change.
Same chitta.
Same. But this mental formation is an imagination which we are talking here, B2 block.
Mental impressions are the sanskar, the acceptances.
Sanskars. Got it.
Acceptances.
Now that they are calling it as a samskara.
Now, if you look at it, it is very analytically explained. So, Roop is there, then I'm getting something from the body. In fact, Vedana, in place of feeling, it should be sensation, to put it rightly, not feeling.
Perception is my understanding, not
So-
right understanding. Understanding.
Yeah, 1 minute.
Hello. Mic
Yeah.
testing.
Just nice that we are getting encouraged to explore and discuss. Yes. So Roop is there. Then I'm getting something from the body as sensation. That is Vedana. Then I'm adding some meaning to it. That is Sangya. Right? That meaning makes sanskar within me. And that sanskar is keeping me unhappy. Right? I have to get rid of all the sanskar. So when Buddha got enlightened, so he said, Visham Kharam Gatam Chittam. My chitta has got rid of all sanskars. And then there's a whole poem there. He said, hey, मतलब जो भी जिसको भी कहें है ना, I have seen you who are making sanskar in me, and he says that now this whole building is there, no? I am removing the pillar of this whole building. Greh Kute or something is called. So Kut is the pillar which is holding the roof of the building. I have removed that pillar. Now no longer you can make sanskar in me. So I'm not going to have any kind of craving. I have got free of all craving. So I have evaluated all my previous conditionings, and in future I'm not going to get conditioned ever. So I'm liberated. So the famous part is Bisham Kharam Gatam Chittam. Gahkar ke है ना दिठा.
Kind of sanskars isn't itself a precondition.
Yes.
How we can be that sure?
Pardon, say it again.
When he say that I will never get any more sanskars, that it isn't itself a
No.
preconditioning.
He is saying that I have seen the reality. I have seen the basic root from where the sanskar was being made. So I will not attach the sangya wrongly anymore. Yeah, so what we are saying, that whenever some sensation comes to me through the body, I associate some meaning to it. That meaning is based on some preconditioning or right understanding. I have to look into that preconditioning. So the originally existing preconditioning I have to be aware, and I also might be making new preconditionings. So I will evaluate all the previous preconditioning by replacing them with Vigyan, that is right understanding, and I will not allow any further preconditioning to be built up in me. So I erased all that was there. Yes. I have erased all that was there, and I will not form anything new. Right? This is what Buddha is saying.
Conditioning should be built up. Today you are coming, we will teach, we will listen. That's a preconditioning.
Yeah, if you're not exploring. If you're exploring, it is not a conditioning. You take it as a proposal, everything. But the way it is being proposed, you see. So the body is there. Through body, I'm getting sensation. You can replace this feeling with sensation. Vedana is there. Then I'm adding some sangya, some name, some label to this Vedana, to the sensation. Then I'm building some sanskar in me. Oh, this is dukh. So I'm getting heat from the sun. Oh, this is misery. This is pain. Right? I'm getting something good to see. Oh, this is pleasure. So I am associating that sangya, that label, to pleasure and pain. No longer I will associate any meaning like pleasure or pain to this. It is just a sensation that is coming to me. I will not associate anything favorable or unfavorable to this. I'll just observe it as it is. So no more sanskara is going to be built up. Right? And the Vigyan has got awakened. Is that fine? Yeah, it is here, no? In fact, I was looking for this shlok only. Pratitya samutpada, dependent origination. Everything arises dependent on conditions. Nothing exists independently. So the famous 12-link chain explains the cycle of birth and ignorance, birth and suffering. Ignorance, formations, unconsciousness, formations, consciousness, name or form, six senses, contact, feeling, craving, clinging, becoming, birth, aging and death. So he's saying how these are related, right? So they are prakrit shlok for that, how these are related. So the ignorance is there. This ignorance is causing formations, wrong formations in me. That is affecting my consciousness. I am giving some name and form to it. The six senses are there. The contact is there, and so on. So this is called pratitya samutpad. Then nirvana. Liberation is the cessation of craving and suffering. It is not annihilation, but the extinguishing of ignorance and desire. So nirvana means that I will remain. It's not that I am no more. I
Well,
will
then
remain.
the five senses is my sensory organs, and the sixth sense is my understanding.
Mind.
Huh?
Mind.
Mind.
In fact, man or mind has been also termed as one kind of sense organ. Yeah. So liberation is a cessation of craving and suffering. So he's saying that nirvana doesn't mean that I'll cease to exist. No, I'm going to be there. Right? I'm continuous. But every time something is taking birth, something is dying. It is not annihilation, but the extinguishing of ignorance and desire. Epistemology, if you see, pramanas in Buddhism. So different Buddhist schools accept different means of valid knowledge. So early Buddhism, if you see, Theravada, so they accept two pramans, Pratyaksh and Anuman. But Yogachar and Sautrantik, they also accept two praman, and Madhyamik, Nagarjuna, was little skeptical. So even perception and inference are relative. Truth is ultimately shunyata, emptiness. There are various ways of looking at it, but essentially they are accepting only two pramans, Pratyaksh and Anuman in both tradition.
Vaya, is the state of complete right understanding realization is an emptiness or completeness?
Completeness. Emptiness of your preconditionings.
Okay.
Completeness of right understanding. So you get emptied up. In fact, now when you sit with yourself, you're getting multiple thoughts which are confusing, contradicting. You are not empty. Pardon? Now, so what is being said here? What she was asking. So you empty out your previous sanskar, and then you get fulfilled with right understanding. Now, if you look at the various schools of Bauddha Darshan, so Hinayana and Mahayana, so Buddhism developed into many philosophical systems. So Hinayana, that is a Theravada or Sthaviravad, the earliest school. So focus on individual liberation, Arhant ideal. So two main philosophical branches, Vibhashika and Sautrantika. Vibhashika accepts external objects as real. Sautantrika holds that momentary dharmas exist, perception is direct, inference is indirect. Then Mahayana, if you see later, which became a broader tradition, so emphasizes compassion and the bodhisattva ideal. So Yogachar, that is the Vigyanvad, asserts mind only, chit matra. External objects are mere mental projections. Introduces concept of alay vigyan, storehouse consciousness that carries karmic seeds. Then Madhyamika, Shunyavad by Nagarjuna, that reality is shunya, empty, of inherent existence. All concepts are relative. Ultimate truth is beyond words. So again, you will see that there are multiple interpretations. Buddha said something, but in the tradition that followed, there are multiple interpretations. Right? So happens, no, that you try to look into the meaning, try to understand and live accordingly, but you may not be able to reach that state which the first person that came to realize saw. Then you may have multiple connotations. Okay, this is doable, this is not doable. This is acceptable, this may not be acceptable. Okay, this is livable, this is not livable. Now here in Jain Darshan, if you see, so there are some Digambar and Shwetambar. So Digambar said that will not put on clothes at all. So they will live in a naked, with a naked body. Mahayana said this thing. Mahayana said, not this thing. Sorry. Shwetambar said that will put on white clothes. So again, multiple schools coming up. Then ethics, Shil, if you see, then 5 precepts, Panchashil. So do not kill, do not steal, do not lie, do not commit sexual misconduct, do not use intoxicants. These are the 5 precepts. And for monks and nuns, hundreds of rules are there. Then God in Buddhism. So Buddhism does not accept a creator God. Devas exist, but they are also subject to karma and samsara. So they said that there is no creator as such, right? Devas are there, gods are there. So now again, if you look at the word God, whether we're talking about the omnipresent space or we're talking about the deities, the liberated self. So they're saying that liberated self is there. Those who attain enlightenment, they are there. But there's nothing like a creator. So devas also exist, but they are subject to karma and samsara. And liberation depends on one's own effort, not a divine grace. So through your own efforts, you are going to get liberated. It is not something that is going to be bestowed upon you by somebody else.
Bhaiya, what is our stand in a UHV? Do we think there is a creator?
Now again, we can look at a rational level. So let's say, for example, there is a creator. For example, if there is a creator, who created that creator? Right?
But again, this is created by me. Again, the babies come from the somebody is there for that origin. What
who
is
is
that?
there for that somebody?
That we are telling no activity space is the base.
Yeah, so that is not a creator, it is no activity.
No
it cannot create.
No activity cannot create the activity.
Yes.
Then how this no activity?
So activity is submerged in no activity.
So there is no creation, it's submergence. That is what we are talking
So
about.
forever, it has been there, it will be there.
Forever. So we cannot say creator.
Yes. There is no creation as such. There is formation, deformation in the material world, but there is no creation. Nothing is coming from it.
This is very clear. Material world formation, deformation is clear. Conscious is the problem.
Yeah, even consciousness. Okay, so we'll talk about that also. So one postulate could be consciousness has been there and it is undergoing transformation. One postulate could be that it was not always there. This material atom transformed into conscious atom. This possibility is also there. So this has been expressed very explicitly in Madhyav Darshan, that how the unconscious atom, that is the material atom, transformed into conscious atom. So that possibility is also there. So one possibility is that these conscious units have been there forever. The other is that they have not been there forever. When there is conditiveness in the nature, then the material unit transformed into the conscious unit. This is quite possible. Why not?
That's what the Schrodinger equation in physics, they talk about wave particle. Energy can exist as particle, energy can exist as wave.
No, that is a different thing. In fact, they are saying that, particularly for light, they are saying this. So they are saying that when I perceive, sometimes I perceive as wave, sometimes as particle. And they are also not actually perceiving, they are seeing the effect. So if you look at this Young's double slit experiment, if the observer is observing the experiment, it behaves like a particle. If the one is not observing, it behaves like a wave. So to the prevalent physics, nothing is clear. They are saying that we are not clear what light is, what energy is, what human being is. Okay. They are not clear about anything which is basic. What is memory? I am not clear. So they have left everything open now. Before 1950, they were trying to uh, give theories for various realities. But after some time, they feel that this completed, it is beyond our reach. because we can see that there is uncertainty. If I measure motion, I cannot measure state. If I measure state, I cannot measure motion correctly. Then the chaos theory came. Chaos theory says that if you are having a small error in your measurement, it can lead to a lot of chaos in your final outcome. And recently, 2022, one person got Nobel Prize who had suggested, basically his outcome is that the consciousness is a part of the experiment. The observer is a part of the observed every time. So whatever you are concluding is including your assumption. What you are concluding is including your assumption. So they are totally now, blocked in their own research that I can't proceed further from here. That kind of thing. Because if you do not understand space, if you do not understand consciousness, and the consciousness is trying to study the material, right, without understanding consciousness, then how is it possible? What we are saying here is that I can be a pure observer, I can see the reality. And to see the reality, when I go to see the reality, I did not limit myself to form and property. I have to see the natural characteristic, I have to see the innateness, I have to see the submergence. Now here also, if you see, that this is very scientific in so-called prevalent terms. What he's observing, he's sharing. He's not basing his any word on any textbook or anybody else. He's saying, I am observing and I am sharing. You observe and share. Don't follow me. Don't say that since Buddha said this, so I am saying this. No, you become the pure observer yourself.
Bhaiya, Bhaiya, the consciousness came only when humans evolved, or it was there with the animals, with the material order also, a bio order?
No, see, in the animal order, the consciousness is there. With birds and animals, there is consciousness, no? The self is there. Now, how did the self appear on this planet is the question. So one possibility is that the self have been there. So many self are there in other planets also. It may be there. They are there in space. Okay. And then they started associating with some body here. One possibility. Another possibility is that on the same planet, some material atom transformed into consciousness atom. Fine. So they are saying that there is no omnipresent God or the creator God. They are saying that only devas are there who are the liberated self. And the goal of life is to escape from the cycle of birth and death, sansar, attain nirvana through wisdom, morality, and meditation. So ultimately, you have to attain nirvana. This is the goal. In Jainism, they are talking about liberation, moksha. Here, they are talking about nirvana. So, Bauddha darshan is a Gnostic, empirical, and practical philosophy. Gnostic in the sense that it is not accepting the Vedas, right? But it's talking about reality. So, it is accepting, the existence. Centered on suffering and liberation. It rejects the soul and the permanent entities, emphasizing momentariness, dependent origination, and non-attachment. Its two main traditions, Hinayana and Mahayana, developed deep philosophical systems like Madhyamika, emptiness, and Yogachara, mind only, which had global influence. So we can study all this. So what we are doing, we are initiating the discussion here, and then it is up to you. If you feel interested, you can go and study deeper. Okay, and your concern, if your concern is focused on this, that I have to understand the reality, space consciousness. So what has Buddha said? I'll try to take it as a proposal, explore myself. What has Mahavir said? I'll take it as a proposal, right? And no need to look into Charvak. He did not say much about this. So you can just omit him, right? So what has Buddha said? What has Mahavir said? We can look into their sayings, taking as a proposal and then explore and validate, isn't it? And this all can be a help because you see, for example, if you have to ensure health, right? You have to take care of a food also. You have to take care of walking also, working also. So many measures we use. Similarly, all these can help you in evaluating your preconditionings, your inclination towards sensation, right? Coming out of all this and ensuring right understanding, right feeling. This is all possible. So we have to make the right program for us. Only then, only that when I'm taking this to the masses, I have to take it at a universal level, bringing out the essence, not limiting to any particular ism or sect or person or text. I have to take it in a very general, universal manner. But at a personal level, we can try all these measures. Whatever helps me liberate, we can try that. Yeah. So I think it is time for lunch now. 12 o'clock now. 12:30. Okay. So I'll go further. But whether people are able to absorb, we have been sitting since what time? 10:30. We can continue for half an hour more. Yes. Nice. In fact, we can see that we are more interested towards the Indian tradition, and we are not so much towards the philosophy, the psychology theory that we're studying. So that is also fine.
Bhaiya, what about Hinduism?
What about
Hinduism.
Hinduism? So Hinduism has basically those 6 Vedic darshan. We'll study. We'll come to that. Pardon? Acha, ठीक है. Okay, fine. So Vipassana is one common meditation practice that has been given by Buddha. So Vipassana is a Pali term meaning insight or clear seeing. So if we look at it, it is called Vipassana. V means vilagit hona, to see it separately. है ना? Pashya means dekhna. So Vipassana. When it was translated into English, it became Vipassana. Basically, Vipassana is the Prakrit word also. It has been translated Vipassana. In Sanskrit, this will mean as Vipassana. It was one of the oldest forms of meditation from the Buddhist tradition, especially emphasized by Theravada Buddhism. The purpose is to develop direct experiential understanding of the true nature of reality. So if you look at the origin and background, so the founder is Gautam Buddha, who was there from 4th to 5th century BC. And as the path to liberation, Nibbana, Nirvana. So rediscovered and revived in modern times by teachings such as Lady Syadav, Uba Khin, and S.N. Goenka. So there are some people like Uba Khin was a person in Burma, which is called as Myanmar now. And S.N. Goenka ji, he was there till recently, like he died few years back only. So he learned from Uba Khin. So the Buddhist tradition, it originated in India, but around 800 AD, okay, because there were so many anomalies in the monks, so they were dispelled from India. They were asked to leave the country, or they were killed also. And then they got settled in many other countries like Myanmar, Indonesia, Thailand, China, Japan. They spread there further. But then people brought it back to India, and particularly S.N. Goenka ji has been promoting Vipassana. And this is based on the Satipatthana Sutta, 4 foundations of mindfulness. So if you look at the core principle, Vipassana aims to see the reality as it is truly by observing. So there are 3 things: anicca, dukkha, and anatta. So nothing is permanent, anicca. Everything is transient. Suffering, there is dukkha. All conditioned phenomena lead to dissatisfaction. And non-self, anatta, no permanent, unchanging self exists. So there is no soul as such. Okay, so it is always changing. So soul was there, which was being termed as permanent. So he's saying that no permanent entity is there. Something is there which keeps on changing from time to time. So if you look at the step-by-step Vipassana practice, so first of all, in stage 1, you have to take the 5 precepts, shil. So abstain from killing, abstain from stealing, abstain from sexual misconduct, abstain from lying, abstain from intoxicants. So commit to the noble silence, Aryamon, no communication by speech, gestures, or writing. Has anyone done Vipassana here? No, okay. Yeah. So I have done it. I have done it thrice. So there, if you go for Vipassana camp, the camp is of 10 days and people stay there completely silent and I don't have to talk. So this shield is practiced, in some way, because if you talk, you may mix up some words out of preconditioning or tell some lies. So don't talk. If you look at others, you will get wrong kinds of notions inside you. So even don't look at others. Be with yourself. So there is a 10-day Vipassana camp in which you just be with yourself. Do not talk also. And there is a strict routine that is followed. Right. So the meditation will start at 4:30 a.m. in the morning, and you have to sleep at 8 by 8:30 or something every day. Right. And there are multiple sittings. Then samadhi, concentration. So in the first 3 days, they practice this, that is called anapanasati. So sit comfortably with the spine erect. Focus attention on the natural breath. So first of all, you have to sit comfortably. Try to sit. Yeah. And then the first step would be to observe your breath. Right. Now, breath is something which is called as pran. So pran relates the body to self. So if you start observing the pran, your observation becomes sharp. So observe the breath, right? Then observe the sensation that is around your nose. So when you're observing the breath, you will can also observe how it impacts your nostrils, right? Then observing this, you observe the triangular portion above your lips up to the nose, this triangular portion. So you are able to observe the sensation. So basically start by observing the breath, then you observe the sensation. The sensation that is associated with breath. This is in this triangular part. Then you can start observing the sensation in the body. Right? So you can start with some part of the body, maybe your foot, and then you can go up to head. Then from head you can go up to foot. Then from front you can go to the back. From back you can go to the foot front. And this way you are observing all the time. Right? The sensation inside every cell of the body. Right? And then while observing, you can see that it is changing. The sensations are changing. They are impermanent. Right? So there is no permanence. So by observing the sensation, you can see that it is only contraction and expansion in the body. Neither contraction is continuous nor expansion is continuous. So today we'll practice this after lunch. So you have to focus attention on the natural breath at the nostrils and the upper lip area. Then observe the breath as it is, not regulate. So this is not pranayam. This is not a process to regulate your breath. Right? So this is not a breathing exercise. No. Just observe the breath as it is. Without regulating, without changing. Just observe it as it is. So when the mind wanders, gently bring it back. Gradually narrow the field of observation to the subtle touch of breath. So it may be the case that you start paying attention somewhere outside and then you bring your attention back to the breath. So the purpose is that it calms and sharpens the mind, develops concentration and mindfulness. Now see that in the modern Western philosophy, psychology also, now they are talking too much about mindfulness, right? There is a course currently going on now, the registration is stopped. This is on positive psychology, applied positive psychology. So I have enrolled for that course. It is being offered by IIT Guwahati. So if you want, you can enroll for that. But now the registration is over. So you can see the modern development in psychology there. Then the third stage is Panna, insight. So days 4 to 9. So focus is Vipassana. So systematic body scanning. Start at the top of the head, move downward slowly part by part and observe the sensations. The heat, the cold, the tingling, pressure, itching, pain, vibration, whatever. No need to react. Just observe with equanimity, upeksha. Right? So no craving, no this thing repulsion. Just observe as it is. So if no sensation is felt, stay attentive. Eventually, sensations arise. Continue scanning from head to feet and back in a rhythmic flow. The purpose is to observe directly the impermanence on each of sensations, to dissolve deep-rooted mental conditioning, the craving and aversion. Now you'll see that when you are observing the sensation, for example, if you have to place your feet in a particular manner, okay, you will get a lot of sensation from there. So कहते हैं पैर झन्ना गया, right? What is that called in English? When if you are holding your feet in a particular position for long hours, it is become numb, numbness, है ना? Numbness. Your whole feet will become numb. It will appear like wood, है ना? Something very strongly jammed, है ना? And you see that when such unfavorable sensations are rising in the body, it is also causing unfavorable feeling in you because you are getting irritated out of this. You are getting irritated. You will get unfavorable thoughts in you. So through sensation, observing the sensation in the body, you are able to observe the various sanskars in you. From where this thought is coming, from where this imagination is coming, this feeling is coming, irritation is coming. You can observe all this, right? So by observing the sanskar, by the sensation, you are able to observe the sanskar. And as they are saying that just by observing the sensation in the body, you can get rid of these old sanskars also, because you are trying to observe with equanimity. Okay, no reaction, just observe it with equanimity. Just be with that. So by doing this consistently, you can get rid of your own sanskars. Again, like Vipassana has multiple levels. Okay, so this is Vedana Upassana. This Vipassana is basically Vedana Upassana because you're only looking at the sensation. Then there is Bhava Upassana. You can directly look at the feeling part, right? So multiple levels are there.
But yeah, when we do, say for example, if there is a carving for something, and craving for something, and no, I want to be disciplined, self-discipline. This is keep coming in. Is it okay to go through that process and come out, or maintain this discipline? But in imagination, anyway, it's occupying. No, that is still there.
There is another way.
Right, understand.
In your imagination, no, that may come later. In your imagination, you go through it.
In your imagination, you're going through it. It's already happened.
And you will see that nothing comes out, and something fruitful is not coming out of this. So what?
Okay, not exhibit in the behavior or expression.
Yeah, yeah. In fact, this will work a lot. You don't act accordingly. In fact, we all can try this. Don't actually consume it. No need to actually consume it. You just observe yourself consuming it. And you can see that there is no net outcome of this consumption. Any kind of sensation through the all sense organs. Maybe you are very much fond of some sweet, right? But you cannot eat it and you are craving for that sweet. You imagine that, yes, now the sweet is there in my mouth. I am chewing it. It has gone inside. What next? It got digested. Nothing came out, right? So you'll see that, for example, a sweet also, no? So you are putting it on your tongue. It is said that only the front 1/3 portion of the tongue gets the sensation of taste. Once it goes beyond that 1/3 portion, there is no taste, right? And you are testing it only for a few seconds, right? But that is going to remain in your body for many hours. So you can observe it this way also, right? This is one thing. Second thing, you can very much see that this sensation is only an information. When you are observing, in fact, in exercise 2, we are doing that. Whatever sensation I am getting from the body is only an information. I over-evaluate it to make it happiness. It is not happiness essentially. I am associating happiness with it. It is only an information. Whatever is coming from the body to me is only information. I am associating, and that is my sanskar here. Oh, this sweet food है ना, will give me happiness. This food will not give me happiness. We are associating that kind of meaning, right? So I can evaluate that meaning by myself and I can get rid of it. So basically, when he's saying that observe with equanimity, the same thing. There may be some craving, there may be some longing, there may be some distraction, there may be some, you know, this thing, dvesh, you know, aversion. So they are saying that craving and aversion, both are not desirable. What is desirable is equanimity. Now within us, we either have craving or we have aversion. Oh, this is bad. Now, let this not happen to me. Oh, this is so good. Let me have it. Somebody is saying profane language to me. Oh, very bad. Let me not have it at all. Somebody is appreciating. Ah, so nice. Keep on appreciating. Yeah. So this is craving and aversion. Equanimity is saying, through equanimity is samatva or samta is saying that just observe it as a phenomenon. You are adding sangya to this. The sensation that is coming to you, no, you are adding the sangya and it is becoming your sanskar. I am fond of sweet food. This is your sanskar. You give that meaning that the sweetness is going to give me happiness. So very technically and rationally they've explained all this, right? So just observe with equanimity. If no sensation is felt, stay attentive. Eventually sensations arise. Continue scanning from head to feet and back in rhythmic flow, right? And then mitta bhavana, loving kindness on day 10. So after developing equanimity, cultivate compassion and goodwill. Mentally wish well-being for all beings. May all beings be happy, peaceful, liberated. This stabilizes the mind and shares the positive vibrations developed during meditation. So this is there. Fine. So for lunch, self-reflection. Yes, back by 1 o'clock. Nice.